Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's.
Hello, beautiful friend. Welcome back to the podcast and happy Friday. I'm so delighted to have you here. As I told you on Wednesday, it has been a fun flurry of activity, and I can't wait to show you all of the fun changes that we've made here at the house. I'm preparing to welcome people for Space to Dream retreats, how you want to close out 2025, this beautiful year of completion, and how you want to enter 2026 as the woman that you're becoming. I have beautiful spaces on the calendar in my home and in my heart for you to just really be and hold space for yourself. So I'm doing all the preparation, and you just need to look at your calendar and see when you want to come and spend some glorious restorative time and space, setting your intentions for the new year. I am here for it. Another opportunity for you to get a jump start on the holidays and on this new year that is coming quick is our next Say Yes Summit. It is November 4th and 5th, and we have a fantastic lineup. So fun. We're actually doing it at a little bit later in the day this time because we have two presenters from Australia and one presenter from Hawaii, and it's just so good. So the full lineup is down in the show notes. We would love to have you. You'll get the replays if you're not able to join us live, but hopefully with the change in the time, you'll be able to join us more easily, and it will be so great just to have your fun energy live on these calls with these 8 phenomenal women, and we are discussing ease. So often as we head into the holidays, ease is not something we have access to. But if we set our intentions, we can enjoy an easy, beautiful, aligned holiday season. And I'm so excited for all of us to learn these beautiful tools from all of these amazing women. So today's guest, also, I'm so excited. As you can tell in my voice, I just get to meet the coolest people. So just knowing that next week I get to play with 8 of them at the summit, and then today you get to hear from the ultra cool, super amazing Chelsea Ross. She is the founder of Goddess Retreats, an award-winning wellness sanctuary in Bali dedicated to empowering women through transformative experiences. A lifelong spiritual seeker, Chelsea weaves her deep understanding of yoga philosophy, meditation, and holistic practices into the very fabric of Goddess Retreats. With a global upbringing, a passion for creating meaningful spaces, and a keen ability to anticipate emerging trends, Chelsea pioneered the luxury women's retreat model, launching one of the world's first women-only surf and yoga retreats in 2003. Her retreats blend holistic wellness, cultural immersion, and sustainable practices, fostering a safe and supportive community for women seeking self-discovery and connection. Beyond Goddess Retreats, Chelsea has a proven track record as an entrepreneur, having successfully scaled other businesses while always prioritizing her commitment to empowering women. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? How fabulous! Goddess Retreats in Bali. Who is with me? Well, I know you will be going quickly to check your calendar for your availability after this gorgeous, expansive conversation with Chelsea Ross. Chelsea, I've already decided this is going to be a fabulous conversation. I am so thrilled to have you here.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, Wendy. I'm really excited to talk with you and your audience.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. So before I forget, because I feel like we are going to have a very easy conversation, I would love to know, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
How I'm saying yes to myself in this season is that I'm really taking time to create a lot of space for myself. And in that space, I'm really spending some time creating some kind of a new stage of alignment for me. I really feel like this is, I thought a lot about this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking it's really like I know when I'm in a stage of starting something new, like a new, really new phase or a new chapter. And I feel like the last few years have sort of been leading up to it, but this year is the year of like really, like say, being into alignment and understanding. Like, I really want to live from the inside out. I really want everything to align, the inside, the outside. And, I think like probably like a lot of women, I've been very productive and busy for the last couple of decades. And this was a good opportunity I felt in this year to create a bit of space,
Mm.
to let go of some things, that it's a time to let go of and to just slow things down and really connect back in before the next, almost incarnation of my life, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I feel like you've been reading my journal. This is so amazing. Oh my gosh, okay, I have so many things to say. I would say that I am astro curious, and I have been dipping my toe into these things that growing up in church was always taught that, that's the slippery slope to the gates of hell and all of these things. So now I'm like, no, actually, I'm going to use every tool that is available for me to know how to hear from my divine intelligence, which
Mm.
I call God. And I know that it's bigger than me, but also inside of me. And I mean, that is many conversations. And all to say, I found out yesterday that I am in my second Saturn return.
Oh,
I know, right? Which is so fascinating. So, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it happens in your late 20s and in your late 50s. And then your third Saturn return is in your late 80s. And fascinatingly enough, I was divorcing from my first husband in my first Saturn return, and I am divorcing from my second husband in my second Saturn return. So, all that you're saying about preparing for what's next, and that it is a reiteration, a reinvention of you. I am I am so with you, sister. And I love already this conversation and your decision to create space, because that is something that I am in the process of doing as well. And for me, I have to consistently remind myself, little Wendy or whoever, big Wendy who's super afraid, that it is safe to rest, that it is safe to have margin, that my mantra for 2025 is let it be easy. And oh, queen. I was slaying that at the beginning of the year. And about the midpoint, I was like, woo, are you sure? Are you sure I can let it be easy? Because I feel like hard is what I know. And yeah, it's a whole thing.
It, it is a whole thing. I talked to, quite a few women about this, and my experience as well is it's actually, you think it's easy to rest, and I'm just going to rest. I'm going to create space. I'm going to do this. And it's like, it's very hard to come from being, like I say, I think the best way is productive.
Totally.
There's a sense of guilt. There's a sense of, what am I doing? Like, I should be doing this more productively. Like, I should be like scheduling it. There's just that letting go itself alone is actually quite the challenging practice. And I like your mantra. My mantra was, yeah, let yourself be held and nothing needs to happen. Because always I was making it happen. Like,
totally.
yeah. And I was like, nothing needs to happen. And for me, the challenge has been that, well, I've sort of decided to try and create space and, like you said, create margin and create buffer zones and all these things. Life has decided, well, we don't care what you think right now. We're just going to throw a few things at you here, there. And it's been interesting because part of that practice has been about, like, for me, creating space to maybe get up in the morning and take myself off surfing before I go into work. I'm trying to sort of have a second childhood in a way, because I can create this sort of space to have fun. At the same time, life's going, here, take this, have this, do this, respond to this. And I'm trying to do it in a way that doesn't have the same sense of, I don't know, there was maybe not urgency, but like picking up the whole ball and just running with it, like doing what's in front of me, but then not, like I say, like I just take the ball and run with it, forever. And that served me well. And I think it serves a lot of women well in the past. That's how we did well in life.
Sure. And all of our conditioning says,
yeah,
this is, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? And you're actually the one that wants it done. So you're wasting time having this conversation with yourself. You could have already done it. And we just keep ourselves in this hamster wheel.
Yeah. And it's like, so I'm looking at different ways of, doing what's in front of me, being responsive, but knowing when to also, again, like, to put it down and then go back to play, not to sort of abandon, because I would find, I sometimes abandon myself to that, thing, passion project, whatever it is, and there's been, and there's a great place for that, I think. But for me, like I say, again, I think I might be in my second Saturn return, as you were saying. That was like doing the calculations. And yes, it feels like a time for me to sort of, reassess and slow down. That's where I'm at in my part of my life right now.
Thank you for sharing that. I so appreciate your generosity. And I think that it's an important conversation because, I own a historic bed and breakfast on a small New England flower farm, and I lead culinary trips to France, and I have gorgeous, expansive conversations on this podcast, and I have a unicorn of a daughter, and I'm a single mom, which means nobody in this house is giving me shit about anything fabulous I want to do. Like, I get that when I say, I'm having a hard time, that can be quite an eye roll. And when someone like you, it's like, I live on Bali and I lead goddess retreats and I have to make myself play. And we could think that people are thinking, oh, geez, ladies, like this is white lady first world problems. And it's totally true. And we acknowledge that. And we are white ladies living in a first world. And I believe we are speaking to those women as well and are speaking about it. It doesn't mean that we're shallow, it means that we're deep. It means we're connected. We are present for this experience, and it is not only the dreaminess that is drawing us together, it is the work, the quote unquote work, like the work we want to do of development, of presence, of shedding this conditioning and these narratives that are no longer serving us. And yeah, I also need to practice how to play because I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, well, and I think too, it's like this journey of getting to this conversation is, from a lifetime of I worked all my way, like from the time I was 14, up until this point, so it's certainly, I didn't just, oh, voila, I'm here, leading retreat. There's certainly there's been a lot of effort and a lot of work and a lot of, you know, how do you say it? Like, I hate to say that, just like work, nothing
Right.
just comes. And it's just all, I feel like, you know, life's journey is about discovering the self. And I've enjoyed those times of great work and diving in and losing myself to well, work and my
Right.
passion and doing things. And then there's other times in life where you go like, well, okay, well, now what's a different speed? I think it's not so much complaining about that, but it's more like, for me, I turned 55 and it's like, it's been an interesting transition to come from from my 30s and your sort of power 40s and you're hurtling through life and you're doing things. And, just talk from my experience, I've had a very interesting few years for me, which has been about really acknowledging coming into my 50s and hitting 55 and, really coming to the sense of, okay, I'm aging. So
Yeah.
that time has passed. And what does my future look like? Because for me, I don't, it might happen for different women at different ages, but it's happened for me now. And I'm like, right, I feel like I've sort of crossed this river and I'm looking back and I'm looking forward and I'm going, okay, well, my body is telling me a few things like, you're not going to go back to being 20, 30, 40 again. You're moving this way. And it's like, okay, so what does that look like? What does that speed look like? What, with all the things that I've done, what what new spaces can I create for myself? And of course, I do feel like one of the luxuries of maybe getting to this age is looking back and going, well, I've learned a lot about myself. I've done a lot of things. And I can hopefully at this stage, because of all the stability that I've been able to create and wisdom I'm sort of hopefully carrying forward in life, that I can take this moment and go, okay, I can actually do this intentionally, because I don't think I actually did this process intentionally in my 20s or 30s or 40s. It was more of dictated by what life was offering, and what I wanted to do. But I think, as we've talked before too, being on a spiritual path, you kind of get deeper and deeper into your knowledge of yourself, because that's what the spiritual path is really about, is getting to know yourself and your connection to higher self or divine consciousness. And it's like, so in this space, with this wisdom that I've sort of carried forward on life's journey, on spirit's journey, okay, I've got this little luxury of going, I'm going to intentionally set up this next part of my life. And it's going to be, for the next, I don't know, 10, 20, hopefully 30 years, So I think it's a wonderful gift.
It is. It's so beautiful. And giving yourself permission, which is the point of this whole podcast,
Yeah.
it's giving ourselves permission to course correct, to reinvent. And you said two words that are, in my estimation, the keys to doing that and doing it well. And that is alignment and intention. And it's and I'll speak from my experience, I've loved every stage of my life. I mean, because we're all doing the best we can with the tools we have. And it's not until, it was great until it wasn't. And then I have a decision. Like, am I going to stay now knowing what I know? am I going to repeat this? Am I going to create by default, or am I going to be a deliberate creator and make some changes? What I'm personally in the process of practicing is saying no to good things and saving my yeses for the best, which is like, I heard that in a sermon when I was 20 years old, and I remember writing it down and I thought it was great. And I thought that's what I was doing this whole time as well. But now with this creating space and creating margin, the things that I do that I love and have completely curated and intentionally and in a space of alignment brought them into my days, and I have more things than day. So I'm on like a continuous cutting out of, wow, okay, I love this. Everyone knows if I have to clear my throat, we've got a throat chakra thing coming. This means this is something I have to say. So grab your pencil, ladies, because this is going to be good. I'll write it down myself. Of like, what do I want to feel like at the end of my days? And at not the end of my days, but like the end of each day. When I lay in bed, I don't want to be exhausted. There's no prize for being exhausted. I want my body to say, okay, it's time for sleeping. Let's go. And then I want to wake up with ease at 4:45 when I start my morning practice, because I love the woman that I am becoming because of that practice. So I'm going to have to take some things out of my dreamy day to make sure that I can get in bed by the time I need to get in bed so that I can get up when I want to get up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that part of that is that's the idea of creating space.
Yeah.
Is that, we sometimes just want to do so much in the day. And that was one of the first things I did, was actually have a look and sit down and look at my schedule. And I started writing down all the things that I wanted to do. And I looked at it and I went, well, no wonder I never get around to doing it all. This is literally impossible for me to do. Actually, so one of the things I did was, instead of doing a 1 week schedule, I now spread it over 2 weeks so that I can sort of fit in sometimes things bi-weekly, rather than the idea, because I was just literally trying to cram too much into my life.
It's such a great awareness.
Yeah, it was a really great thing. And I love what you said about that, about saying, no to wait for best.
Yeah. Say no to good things and save your yeses for the best. And you get to recalibrate what that is every day.
Yeah. And I was thinking back to, like, again, what you were saying about the younger self. I look back at myself, and one of the things for me is that I love giving things a go. Like, ex-partner was always like, oh, you'll give it a go. And I'd always sort of say, and I'd always go off piece. Like, I'd just go off on these random. So I would, I think I would fling myself into life and do random different things. And, I lived, I learned what I liked. I made mistakes. So all those, and like, what you were saying is, like, you do it till you want to do it and it doesn't work, or I've tried things and they've just gone spectacularly wrong. I've had great failures, I've had great successes. And I think that's, again, like, one of the benefits of coming to this stage for me, is that I feel like, I do know, I've had an opportunity of sort of seeing what's worked, leaving what's behind. And again, I think I feel extremely grateful for having more lived wisdom to make these choices and go, okay, well, all right, now are there still some things that I know that I'm hanging on to that I don't need to, whether it's habits, whether it's, like that busyness or whatever it is. Can I recalibrate? Can I make a choice here now from a very conscious place? So, and it's a process.
It absolutely. And I believe that a big part of that process, which leads beautifully into what you do, is holding space for yourself,
Mm.
but also with a pattern interrupt. So, going on one of your retreats, it gets women out of their daily routine into a place that is otherworldly, and then also nourishes mind, body, soul, and you have so much space mentally to get that to-do list out of your body and onto paper, and then have the awareness that there's nobody can do all that and nobody's expecting you to. And what, if I could do anything I want, what would it be? And then, of course, shifting that to, since I can do anything I want, what would that be? Like, it's so good. So I would love to hear how you got started and what your experience is with the beautiful way you spend your days.
Thanks. Yeah, actually, I was just talking to a couple of women on the retreat today, and they were just sharing how that they didn't even realize how much they needed the retreat until they got there. Because, especially, I think one of the beautiful things about holding it in Bali is that it's such a different environment than our regular day-to-day life, where we have when our property's in Ubud, it's in nature. There's butterflies going past, there's fish ponds, there's swaying palms. It's really, really just beautiful and peaceful. And there's people, there's rice paddies growing and everything. And it is such a, like what you said, just such a break from the regular life that it really allows you to see your life in, I think, it's just a much like clearer sense. I would say, like, if you are trying to look at the lines on the palm of your hand, if you've got your hand stuck up against your face, you can't see them. So, but when you pull your hand away, you can see the lines on your palm. And retreats are like that. They just allow you to have perspective on life. What we were just talking about earlier is that I really designed it to be a place where you can have fun and play and do beautiful activities at the same time as really spend some deep introspective time and naturally reflect on, what it is you love to do, what it is you love about your life, what it is you might like to change. And a lot of women come usually when they're going through times of transition, whether it's in their 25 and they're going through their I think it's the quarter life crisis, or just transitioning from university. And then we've got other ones usually if they're transitioning work or relationships. So it's retreats are have such a wonderful space for, I think, honoring that time, particularly for women. Obviously, I think that's been one of the joys for me is to hold it for women, because it's how do I explain it?
It's better.
Yeah, and
That's how I explain
love
it.
like you, like I like you. I love creating that space, and I love it to be such a nurturing space. And there's a particular flavor that comes with the women only space, and I really love making it a place of beauty and gentleness and nurturing. And it is a bit out of time and space, in its and I
It's so
love that.
dreamy. And I
It's
think,
so dreamy.
I lead culinary trips to France for solo female travelers. And I've done a few retreats where I've opened it up to couples or men that want to try. I have such a hard time even marketing
Mhm.
to, because I just know what I love. Men are fabulous. That's so great. It's just a different trip, and it's not one that I want to lead. So I don't have to, which is so great. But there is something that I mean, I think we just know inherently because we are women like what would feel dreamy and amazing. But I love to look at my watch and say, okay, ladies, it's 2 o'clock. Who feels like a glass of champagne? And, that's an easy yes, instead of like, well, what time is our dinner, and what are our next things we have to do, and does that make sense? I'm like, I can't even. So I love that you are also everything about what you're doing, even from the name. It's a goddess retreat. The whole thing is, this will be nothing like your regular day-to-day life. So let's just go over the top in luscious, beautiful, every sense is spoken to, like just yummy sheets and feeling the sand in between your toes and tasting the most delicious food. And I mean, I've never been on one, but I'm imagining like I'm coming, right? And like sitting under a waterfall and just feeling the water on me. Like all of these things are just yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, I how they came about was really that at that time, so it was in 2003, so about 20, just over 22 years ago. Yeah, there wasn't any women's retreats, and at the time I started the retreats as surf goddess retreats.
I love it.
I had learned to surf in Bali, and there really wasn't many women surfing, and I was really lucky to have been taught by a woman who was come up to Bali, and she'd been surfing for a long time. But in those days, there wasn't any surf schools or anything, so it was a real oral tradition that got passed on. So if you didn't have a male in your family, or like boyfriend or father or brother, it was really hard to learn to surf. And so I learned to surf, and then many years later, I was sitting with one of the women I was used to surf with, and she was a yoga teacher, and she's like, "Oh, we should do a yoga retreat down here," because there wasn't very many yoga retreats even back then in Bali. And she said, "You should teach them to surf." And I was like, "You know what? We should make it for women, because there's nothing for women." And like you said, at that time when I started the retreats, I had just turned like 33, and I'd just gotten too old for backpacking, and there was nothing. There was just regular hotels, so there was really nothing for me. So I, like what you just said, I just created the holiday that I wanted for myself, basically. And I wanted, lovely place to stay, great meals, massages. I was a life coach at the time, and I was doing corporate coaching, and I wanted to bring in that opportunity of like looking at yourself and the things that we would do, that self-exploration we would do in workshops. But I didn't want to do it for the whole week. I wanted to infuse play. And yeah, so that was born. And then really the other retreats, because we do different ones now, we have healing retreat, fitness retreat, wellness, and just one where you can basically customize it to whatever you want to do. So I really love that one, because the idea is that we offer lots of different activities that women can choose. Because part of it, I think, about coming on retreat is really the underlying idea is about reconnecting with yourself, getting in alignment, understanding what you love. So it's a great opportunity for women to try something new. I think when it first started with the surf, a lot of women who had always wanted to try it but never did came, and they still do today, and they come at all ages, and they're like, I really want to try this. And it's wonderful because I think it takes incredible bravery. It's so empowering, because, as we mature and we get good at life and become these, wonderfully productive women, is that we're good at what we're good at. So to go in with a beginner's mind and try something new, and especially with surf, like nobody got on a surfboard and did it well the first time. So you really are learning, and you're falling off, and you're laughing, and you're cheering each other on. There's this wonderful sense of play that just naturally happens. And of course, because it's a retreat, with groups of women, and that was one of the biggest myths. Everybody, when I first started, they're like, oh, if you get a bunch of women together, isn't it going to be bitchy?
I
And I
know.
was
Everyone
like,
says
no, it's the
as
complete
well.
opposite.
My gosh, they just want to keep us apart because they know how effing powerful we are.
Yeah, and it is lovely when you do have women there, and it's I'm like you, I love men are wonderful, but it's it's just nice to just have the focus on us, and it's just becomes this beautiful sisterhood. And I love it because we also get lots of different age ranges, also go all the way from like sort of mid-20s up to sometimes 60s, 70s, and it's just this wonderful exchange of life experiences and sharing, and it's so you get to learn so much from each other, and then you also really realize that, just like what we were talking about, even though the details of our stories might be different, we still have stories that resonate with each other because there is this sort of shared life journey tales, and we go, oh yeah, it's which is wonderful.
Oh, it's so good. I'm in. I'm so excited. Who's coming with me? Like, this sounds so fun. And I mean, I love leading retreats. I
Mm.
was a wedding planner for 30 years. So,
People ask me like, oh, what is it like leading a retreat? I'm like, it's like a 7-day wedding.
right.
It's
And
you.
right, with 5 brides, which I'm
It's-
totally here for it. And
oh
because I know what I'm doing and it's not their wedding. So I only know one way to show up, which is wedding Wendy. So everybody is totally excited. All the expectations are exceeded. It's all fabulous. I love it so much.
planning all those
Yeah.
details.
Right? Oh, it's yummy. And I love pulling together different collaborators, just like I pulled different vendors together for weddings. It makes perfect sense and it's so great. And I love to go on a retreat if it is well done, like if it is done by somebody who cares, because whew, like you do not want me as a guest of your wedding if you did not hire a planner, because I am the worst guest. And please do not invite me to your retreat where you don't know what you're doing because I will not be a good time.
Yeah, it's very you become very detail orientated. I'm the same. And I love running retreats. And I like people say, what do you do for your holidays? I like, I go on retreats.
Yeah.
I love retreats and I love being a guest because it's like, you know, one thing I love to do is we just say like, you don't have to think about anything. You just show up. There's no shoulds. You just do what like we've planned it all. And I think, and it's beautiful because, it does also require like a lot of faith for people to show up and just go like, just let us take care of you. Let us take care of you. And sometimes you have to sort of lead people into that. It's part of the retreat journey. It's like, let go.
Absolutely, which is why it needs to be several days, which is why, because we're holding space and whispering in your ear the whole time, it is safe.
Yeah.
It's safe. It's safe to rest. It is safe for you to be here. It is safe for you to dream. It is safe for you to want. It is safe for you to stay in bed or get on a surfboard. It's just, you're safe.
Yeah. 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 And it's wonderful. And I find it does take women a couple of days to really, there's a lot, usually when the retreat starts, a bit of nervous energy as everybody's usually flying in and that. And it's, I love it. You just sort of see it dissipate by day 3. They're like, you know, and it's lovely. I think it's a really beautiful, and I love it. I love it when people come with their, family members but I really, really love it for women who come solo because they can really also leave a lot of, their roles outside because they're not with anybody who's projecting who they think you are while
Right?
you're there. They really can just unravel and just allow themselves to be you because I think underneath it all, that's what, the retreats for me, why I've always done it, what they've always been about and why I called it Surf Goddess. The Goddess was very intentional. It was about what I
Yeah,
were
it was.
earlier about, Course in Miracles and that. It's that I just believe that we are all pure perfection
Yes.
inside, have our higher self. And that goddess is that word there is for me, because it's always about awaken, inspire, and celebrate the goddess in you. It's like she's already there. And sometimes it gets covered up with, what society thinks we should be, what our family did, and that. And it's really just about excavating back down to that really, like, because we each have our own unique way of being in the world and what excites us, what we're here to express. And I feel like our purpose of being here is just to take that journey to understand that and to express it in the world. And it's unique to each one of us. And that's the goddess in us. So, that's why we offer different things to, like, find different things that will inspire you. Try, maybe try sound healing, hike a mountain. So maybe somebody else that's paint boutique. It's really unique and you can do all those different things. And my hope too is that lusciousness that we talk about on the retreat is to take a little bit of that back to yourself. So when you're making your coffee in the morning, you're not just making coffee and getting out the door. It might be like, just make it in a luscious way. Maybe you light a candle, just adding that sort of, I don't know, just that
presence.
Yeah, an essence into life. And even for me, as as a retreat leader and somebody does that, I have to remind myself too to sort of, bring that into my life. And because it can be, life sometimes can be, you get very efficient,
Yes.
and
Yes.
sacrifice that magic essence. And I want to have both. I want to be able to sort of have both, or at least swing back and forth, like remember that. Bring that with me throughout the day, because that's also, that divine feminine of, because the world is really set up to really reward us for being in a very yang, I guess you'd say masculine state. So it's really lovely for us to kind of connect back in and have some balance,
And creating rituals around these tasks that elongate the time it takes to do them, but really enhance the presence of, right? And holding the cup of coffee and smelling the cup of coffee and, hearing it pour into the cup and watching it turn the perfect color with the exact amount of half and half to the perfect grind of the beans. And it's a dance, and it tastes better when I take that time to be present. I have incorporated coffee into my morning routine. I love that. I know that we're supposed to drink like lemon water and apple cider vinegar.
Oh, I know.
Like that, whatever.
I sometimes I do a matcha,
right? It's like all we're supposed to.
But you know what? Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. But actually, I've gotten into just going like, I really love I know this is funny, but like I really love my morning coffee too. I have a lot of like ritual around it, and I really adore it. What I love about what we're talking about with presence, because if you think about it, the beautiful thing about presence is that it's not something you need to purchase in a way. It's simply something for free. So it could be making a coffee. It could be, watching the sky. It could be just walking and observing the, gravel under your foot. Like it being present and sort of really, I don't know, it's not the word romanticizing, but just really taking it in and, like you say, creating this beautiful ritual and appreciating all those things and slowing. And it's a beautiful description what you're saying. It's literally slowing down time and being it and really deeply observing it. There's such great beauty and magic, and I feel like a sort of sense of romance in that.
Totally.
Yeah, it feels that way,
intention and alignment. Like we said, I mean, all of our power is in the present moment. If we're lamenting the past, we're doing it right now in the present moment. If we're worried about the future, we're doing it right now in the present moment. So that is our power, and we get to course correct. We get to shift the energy by shifting our thoughts, which only comes with intention and alignment. It's so good.
Yes. And I think that sort of harks back to why it's so important for me now is that I have been aware that I'm a person that lives very much in the future. And it is by slowing down and really loving and being in this present moment. It's something I feel like my next stage, even though I've been aware of this for a while, and I have been, I've spent a few decades meditating, and, and all doing yoga and all that, and in a very deep way, I still recognize that sort of the mind's natural tendency to do that. And I guess that's for me is like, yeah, really, I really want to address that, where I can just bring myself into the present moment and deeply into it as much as possible. And when I'm in the present moment and when I'm setting intention, I really appreciate now that I feel like I really know what is good for me and what's not.
Yeah.
So it's really about just slowing down and making that choice.
Right.
And knowing that it's like, it's a beautiful act of self-love in going like, this is what's good for me. And, coffee's like, yeah, 1 cup of coffee, perfect. 5, not.
No. Right. Which is so interesting, because even in that excess, it's kind of out of a scarcity mindset for some, and it's fascinating. So I love, you're mentioning meditation and yoga and presence in this way. It doesn't mean that we're not making plans. It doesn't mean that we're not coming up with good ideas. It's in those moments of focus, of alignment, of connection with our future selves, we take inspired action. The idea is like, that's the idea that's going to drop in, and it's the next great idea that we're doing, instead of the ideas you get by looking at your bank statement are different than the ideas you get when you are in meditation. So looking at, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to make up for this, that, and the other thing, and all these bills that are coming, and all those ideas are based in scarcity. And when we have these beautiful divine downloads of what to do next, then of course it's going to work. Of course it is. It's our future self calling us toward our future self. Like, it's already happened. I believe with my whole heart that if these dreams are in you, then these dreams are for you. So it's not that if you write it down, it's never going to happen. It's no, we're just massaging it and creating the roadmap. Well, listening to the roadmap that's already been created, like it's a co-creative process between who we are now and the divine.
It is actually. I was actually having this conversation today about that. It's like, by getting clear on what what basically, what feels, authentically good. All we have to do is really get clear on that. And I'm saying too, because, sometimes it's good not to get too prescriptive on the goal. Once you know, like, what you really like, what sparks your spirit, what makes you feel happy, that's half the battle, I would say. And you don't really need to make too many like really prescriptive goals, because the universe will come and meet you halfway, and more than halfway. I was saying, like, I could never have imagined for myself where my life would take me. I would have dreamed way too small. And that's that thing too, I think, what you're saying too about, so for me, by slowing down and being in the presence, where I'm at now is that I am trying not to over respond to things or make things happen. That's why I say let it happen. And that's the reminder of like, let life come and meet me halfway, or more than halfway. Usually most of the time it's like, see what's coming, and then really respond to that with that same presence as I would give a cup of coffee, like,
yes.
100%. I see, and I can see the signs, like, okay, yep, that's a go sign, that's a no sign, and I feel like my role is to hopefully read the signs well, and I'm putting that through the filter of what I know is in alignment with me, and then it's go. And so, as I say, even though in my mind I'm like creating all this space in my life, I'd say life's giving me more and more and more things to do, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to show up. And and that was for me one great thing my dad taught me is like suit up and show up, for life. And that's my job, is I got to be like, I'm awake, I'm ready to go. For me, I always believe if I meet life with that energy, like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready, give me directions, I'm going to go do it. And I do it. And that's what I always said, like, I just follow directions really well. And I really try to have this conversation with the universe, with life. And I'm like, okay, you tell. And honestly, I feel like all the abundance that I've created and everything I've done, it's really just been at the request of the universe and the request of life. And I've just followed directions, and when I hit a wall, I turn left because and then, and when I get confused, I'd be like, you got to send me a big neon sign because I don't know which way you want me to go next. And it would come along and away we go,
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love that it is a conversation, and it is like the GPS, it's just telling us the next turn, and that's all we need to know. So sometimes a lot of women that I speak to, like, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Like, oh my gosh, who knows how? Nobody knows. So asking ourselves, what is my role in this today? And sometimes I can't even go a whole day. I'm very much like we were talking earlier about A Course in Miracles. I'm asking sometimes every 15 minutes, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom would you have me say it? Because I require at this moment in this junction in my life, my Saturn return, where everything is being redefined, I need consistent conversation and direction. And I trust wholeheartedly that the universe knows how to communicate with me, and I know how to listen, and I'm just going to take it one step at a time.
Yeah. I was taught with one of my teachers a long time ago, it's like, if you know your path the next 10 to 30 years, that is not necessarily like the best path of spiritual growth. If you are really in like absolute spiritual pregnant possibilities, it's when you actually don't know what the next thing is, and I'm sure, we've had the analogy of getting from one coast to the other. You're in the fog and all you need to see is the next 50 feet in front of you, and you just keep on doing that. And so, yeah, I think a lot of times, like I say, you just leap and the net appears.
Yes.
So I always just go, just give me a sign that I'm leaping in the right direction.
Because you don't know. We don't know what all the steps are, but we know that we will know.
Yes.
What the next step is.
And for me, I really feel like my spiritual, path or growth along this path, mine has been about, being able to understand and be able to converse better in this conversation. When I was in my 20s, it was like my mind would hijack things and go, I'm sure he's right for me. I'm sure he's right. And God, no,
look at him.
No. And, to learn not to let, my mind dictate, but really, really understand, like, yes, this is a choice, and part of that's about knowing who I am, what I really like, what I don't. And a part of it's also about really understanding, like, where there's an open door or where there's a closed door. So just part of the journey. And I guess that's where I'm at right now. Just refining it even deeper. And actually it's kind of exciting in a way, because you're like, oh, I wonder, universe, what have you got planned for me now? Because I feel like, I'm in that's a Saturn return in that void, because it's when all the sort of fundamental foundational things in life sort of kind of like get changed, whether it can be jobs, it can be marriages, it can be homes, it can be lots of different things. And you are in this void, but at the same time, it's almost like a pregnant place of possibility. And you're like, okay. And that's where I feel like I am right now, to be honest. So I'm sort of just hanging out, not making any major moves, but just sort of, just checking out, what is it I like? What is it I don't like? Maybe we should get back together in about a year or two and see what's happening, because I'm sure it's going to be some very, interesting and radical changes, because it's usually how it happens. It's how it's happened for me in the past when I've been in sort of life transition. It's quite exciting. You just head off on this whole new adventure.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I could absolutely talk to you all
I
day
know.
long. I have loved this conversation. I cannot wait. Definitely have you back in a year because I got to know what I have to know what happens and would love to attend one of your retreats. I'm so excited. So please tell everyone where they can find and follow you, how they can get on the list for one of your retreats, all the good things.
Oh, well, you can find my retreats at goddessretreats.com, and we run all year round. And yeah, just look us up on the website, or we're also on Instagram, and yeah, have a look. And yeah, we'd love to welcome all anybody along.
Thank you. Well, we will link everything down in the show notes, but I have loved this conversation, Chelsea. Thank you for being here.
I've loved being here. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wrighthouse and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.